recorded live from Studio 12A in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. You're listening to the Josh and Friends Podcast.
Hey-o! Thank you for tuning into the Josh and Friends Podcast. I am your host. My name is Josh. And this week, I have a brand new guest to the show. I first met this guy at a job several years ago in Scottsdale. And he was the trainer for a class of new hires. And I immediately connected with him due to our mutual love of music and sports. And this guy's not only one of the most dedicated employees that I've ever met, but he's also one of the most passionate sports fans that I've ever seen. And he's here today to discuss those topics and much, much more. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the show the man who identifies himself as a Yankee, a Terp, and a Washington football fan. He is my buddy, the one and only Mr. Matt Boiseau. All right, hello, Matt. How you doing?
Hello there.
How's it going?
Good.
So finally got you on the show.
Here.
Finally got you on the show, man.
Yeah, it only took asking me one time.
I think I started work with you at the second place right when I started this podcast. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah, like literally the same day that I aired this podcast was like 2 years ago when I started.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, so I know that you have been working diligently on your little yard project. How's that going?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. So I'm happy to share that I'm supposed to see, like seedlings like a week. Well, about 3 minutes ago is 1 week. However, a day and a half ago, I saw my first seedlings, and now they're everywhere. And I think it's because I did a really good job. But
wow.
That remains to be seen. I did.
So, yeah. Now, do you still have that little setup in the backyard? Weren't you going to put like a TV out there and like have like a backyard bar and stuff like that?
Well, it's still back there. It's not as refined as I wanted it to be. What it is this. It is a big table with a bunch of chairs around it, and it's got a TV. It's got all my DirecTV, going to that. And that's money, and I got like the best sports package, money can buy right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's cool. Like when the weather's nice, it's you go out there and just hang out. I got a fridge out there, a little mini fridge.
Nice. I was just gonna ask that.
lights. There's lights out there, like the little ones with that hang from the string with the little light bulb.
Living the true Arizona life out here. That's
yes,
awesome.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
we're heading right into the best time of the year for pretty much the country out here is where you want to be out in Phoenix.
This is true.
So what area of town are you in? Where are you again?
I'm like 34th and Thomas. I'm like Central Phoenix.
Central Phoenix. Okay.
Yeah.
What's didn't you say you had a favorite bar out there? You moved out there.
I have a bunch, man. I'll be honest. As far as like where I go, like it really does change with the wind. I for a long period of time I went to my friend's family owns the TP Mexican restaurant, so like nice. We would pretty much go there and drink beers on the patio more often than not. And if you wanted to eat, there was obviously good food available. Nice. It's fantastic food. TP Mexican, I highly recommend.
Awesome.
But like the last couple of years, it's been kind of like wherever the wind takes us and stuff. And there's a place. I mean, it's a chain right now, but there's a really nice version of it around here, and it's called the Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers.
Oh yeah,
like, dude, they're. I mean, like wherever you're sitting, you can see every TV. You can. It's really what I'm looking for. In a sports bar. Is
that like the best name of a sports bar like ever?
It might be.
I mean, you just drive by it and you're like, I want to go there. Like, that sounds amazing.
Both of those things. I like both of those things. and I'll tell you, the crazy part is like, I will say they have amazing cheeseburgers.
Right.
But they also have a really amazing friggin' Reuben.
Yeah.
Just Prami Ribbon. That's like to die for. So I don't even get a
Oh,
cheeseburger every time I'm there.
it sounds
Like, to die
amazing.
for.
That sounds
I know.
amazing. So, Matt, I first met you at Matrix Medical Network,
Yes,
and
indeed.
you were the trainer for the entire call center there. And
Yeah.
and for those who aren't familiar, for that very small population that doesn't know what Matrix is, what is Matrix Medical Center, or what was Matrix Medical Center?
We did a preventive visit. We had a nurse come out to your house, and basically it was for Medicare Advantage members, and they give you the check that most people don't have because they don't feel like going to the doctor and whatever. And so we'd call them and see if they wanted a nurse to come to their house, and if they did, we'd send a nurse to the house.
Yeah, and you trained hundreds of people there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like our initial ramp was to 75 people, and yeah. So it was 75, and then we had to do people leave, people come, people go, and
And what was
definitely
training?
trained
Training's like
over
a couple weeks, or was it a week or a couple weeks, something like that?
something like that. Yeah, it was like, I think it varied like it usually does, but like I think it went as long as like 8 days and as short as 4.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, I had classes with 10 people, and I had classes with like 18 people, and then I think your class was like what, 3?
Yeah, it started out as 4. They always like start out as like a certain number,
Yeah.
and end up as like another number. No, but like I remember the thing I remember most about training was you guys had a nurse practitioner come in who did a lot of these visits.
It's really amazing.
And she told some stories that were pretty horrifying that really got you to. No, actually, I totally didn't even remember that one. The one I remembered was the one where they check their circulation, and she walks in and she immediately smelled something odd. And she's like, huh. But one of the things that they do is they check your circulation, and she pulled off the guy's sock, and his foot was all rotted and black and stuff like that. Like,
God, yeah, that was a terrible one.
God.
That's just awful.
That is so beyond like horrible. And the guy, he's just kind of like, oh, is there something wrong down there? And I'm like, all right, that's exactly why we need to schedule these, I mean, because most of the time it's like, they're fine. Or like we defend people by asking like, hey, you want to have a nurse practitioner? And they're like, I am like healthy. I am more healthy than you. And I'm like, hey, calm down.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, there's a reason. I mean, hey, if one in, I don't know, 100 or like that guy, I think it's worth it, So, but yeah,
Agreed.
I remember the thing that I loved about coming in there. I was there for a while, and then the management asked, "Hey, do you guys know anybody that is looking for an opportunity that would be a good fit for this place?" And I remember I go, "Hey, Matt, I know this guy. He's awesome."
Eric?
No, not Eric. He's good on the phones. He loves sports. I think you'd like this guy. And you're like, yeah, sounds awesome. And yeah, his son plays baseball.
Zeke.
and you're like, yeah, have him come in, man. And I go, I will. And man, I remember that place used to be dead silent, like on the floor. And then Zeke got there. And he was so funny. And then when you put him next to like, Maryland, then it's like, all right, they might need to.
Which we basically did. They had to skip over you, but like they saw each other. Yeah,
they'd stand up. Hey, Zeke. But it was funny because before that it was really quiet, and Zeke, boy, he doesn't have a filter on him, and sometimes he'd say something he didn't even care. He'd just say whatever, and I'd be like, oh gosh, I'd publicly apologize to everybody. Sorry, everybody. I brought him there, or I brought him here. So sorry. But no, he was a good fit though. He was awesome there. It was hilarious. Those are some fun times working there.
Can I tell a great Zeke story?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
This is a fun one. All right. Zeke's a diehard Raiders fan, and I am a diehard fan of
Oh,
the Washington football team. Yeah, the team without a name. That I'm like not buying any of the W stuff. Like it's driving me crazy. I did buy a Chase Young jersey because he's a badass, and
okay.
I'm in. Like sign me up for one jersey. Like
So does it just have a W on it? Like
it says Washington
okay,
here.
Okay.
You know, like most teams have the team name right here.
Right.
It says Washington.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, when they do get a name, I'm kind of for them keeping Washington here. I think it looks badass. Just throwing that out there. I know that's what they were trying to do with the rebrand is they wanted to tie to the city. They wanted to city. It's like, all right, you're not gonna be the Red Wolves or you're gonna be the whatever the fuck. You know, like why don't we I'm sorry. I shouldn't curse on your. You probably have
No. There's no. No, you can do whatever you want.
All right, perfect. Because it accidentally happened.
Yeah, no.
I am from New Jersey.
You're in a safe place, man. You're in a safe place.
As you can see by my toll booth picture behind me.
It's awesome. I love it. No, but you said that you had a story. You had a story about Zeke.
Yes. So Zeke's a diehard Raiders fan, and I'm a diehard fan of the Washington football team.
Right.
And on one particular Sunday night game or Monday night game, I can't remember which, but it was a national TV game. Washington was the victors, and so everyone's aware. I at one point was the opening manager for. So I was a trainer for a period of time, and then. Once they didn't have room for a full-time trainer, they still wanted to retain me, so they kept me as the they call it operations leader, really like a sales manager, like a manager of a team. And so I had the opening shift, which got there at 6 a.m. And no one ever beat Josh to the office. If anyone did, it was Zeke. And Zeke and Josh were always there before I was there. 100% of the time. 100% of the time. So when this happened, Josh and Zeke still beat the office early as hell, too. I really gave it the old college try. I got there like, I was usually there by, 20 minutes of, 20 minutes to 6. Right. Never saw them, like, not at their desk. But, like, I got there at, like, I'm going to say 5:20 that day. Still didn't beat them. Yeah. So I had to try and, rib Zeke because he's definitely the kind of guy that would have ribbed me had it not gone my way. So,
very competitive,
yeah. So one thing I did know about Zeke is that he's very, mindful of his time and like really cared about like making sure his time card looked the way it was supposed to every day and all that good stuff. And he would always go to the bathroom like right before. So as soon as he like vacated the premises, I went behind his computer and I put a Bluetooth speaker like right behind it. And as soon as he showed back up to his computer, this is like a few minutes before we kick it off for the day at 6 a.m. I blasted "Hail to the Redskins" in his face.
What did he do? Did he just laugh?
No, he gave me a round of applause. It was like a well-executed. He was very classy about it. He laughed his ass.
I could see him doing that. I could see.
Yeah, he handled the joke well. Like like if you're the kind of person that can handle a joke well, I'm probably not going to do this to you. Like let's just say you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Yeah,
you probably don't take a joke well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they're a different breed, man. Like, there's videos of those guys. Like, I think the last one that I saw was a video of them eating horse shit, like literal, like after a game. I'm like, that's how you guys celebrate? That's how you guys celebrate? That's weird. That's bizarre.
I don't even know that one, and I don't even want to Google it. I don't want to.
It's on YouTube, man. I saw it.
I don't need to get the bottom of it. Like seriously, like. These people have deep-seated mental issues, and I know that because I've been going to hockey and football and basketball and baseball games with them for years, and I know what it's like.
That threw batteries at Santa or whatever, or snowballs at Santa?
There was snowballs at Santa. I'm sure they threw batteries at people, too. I mean, like, that's...
Oh, God.
Probably athletes from New York.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're talking about like Knicks or Yankees or whatever,
Right.
but like, they probably threw batteries at him.
Yeah. That's probably a safe bet. Yeah. Yeah. So now you actually worked at Revana as well, and I had Steve Klunk on before. I don't think you know Steve Klunk, but anyway, Steve Klunk, you'd like Steve Klunk, but
I believe it.
but he's kind of like Zeke. But Steve Klunk was on, and you actually worked at the same building because I think there's two big buildings for Revana as well, right?
And you go back and I went back and forth between those all day long.
Gotcha. Okay.
Campus. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, did you do training there as well, or what did you do? And which company did? Because Revana is like a place that has a bunch of different companies that they call for and stuff like that, right? So
yeah, it's a business process outsourcer, BPO is what they call it, and they had like Facebook and Google and Apple and FedEx and DirecTV was there, and a whole host of companies that you're familiar with outsource their call centers, and like this is one of the places that they outsource to. And Josh and I both worked for it for a period of time. We didn't know each other at that company, but we both worked for this Arizona powerhouse of a call center. So
tons of people over there,
tons. And I'll tell you, like even as a hirer now, like if you've worked at Revana, which has since become T-Tech, like it's basically like I've been through Army boot camp. I'm good to go. I'm like, right, like, seriously, like, I mean, like if you didn't work there for like 6 months, it's like, I wouldn't think that, like exactly like what's what on everything. But like there, it's like, like you come out of there, it's like, all right, well, they went out of there and they're still going for a call center job. So they're cool with it.
I don't think I've ever been at a place at any job ever where the turnover rate was that crazy at Revana. I mean, they would take their requirements were a lot. I mean, they would take pretty much anybody there. I mean, it really was kind of like you want to start a job and work your way up. That's the epitome of starting at pretty much ground zero and working your way up. I mean, so that's how I always described that place. But
I met some of my favorite people at that company too.
Yeah, I met a lot of friends there.
I worked with a lot of really cool people at that company, and a lot of people going through the same stuff, and a lot of people just like trying to figure stuff out. And it's like a lot of people looking for ways to have fun and stuff. So it was. I started out as an agent there, and I became a trainer there. It was good.
Did you know Jimmy, the trainer, the FedEx trainer, the bald guy, the Jimmy?
What's his last name? Do you remember?
I
wanted to say yes.
I don't know. He was bald. He had glasses.
I want to say yes.
Kind of looked like Heisenberg from Breaking Bad.
We had the same boss. I'm pretty sure yes. Like, cause you were at, I can't remember what the name of that building was. What was the name of that building?
What was the name of that?
They called mine Black Canyon. And
yeah, that's what it was. Black Canyon. But it was the other across the green grass.
Yeah, it had a different friggin', like, it was like you were on a different campus, but like we could, like have lunch.
Yeah, that's funny.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're right. It's just like a college. He was like, oh, right, college. All right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this, man, the other day. This has nothing to do with what we were just talking. It has a little bit to do with what we were just talking about. Not a whole lot. I don't think I've worked with anyone for as long as I've worked with you.
I'm trying to think. I don't think
I have. Like, dude, my tenure, like my max tenure at a place has been like just over 4 years, 4.5 years, something like that. And it's like, I've worked with you for 7.
Yeah. When did I think I started in 2015. Does 2015 sound right? Something like that.
Cause I started August of 2014. You probably would have started right after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started, I'm guessing it was like 2015. That's like class with Nicole and
you guys were early on. I remember that.
Yeah. We were wave 3 or 4 or something like that. I mean, we're pretty early.
Something like that. Yeah. It was like, I mean, you could do August. You couldn't do another one in September. You'd do October. Probably there was one in January. Because you don't do one in December usually. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
This can't be interesting to your audience. I can't imagine. Like,
Who cares?
Feel free to edit any of this shit out.
No, it's all valuable information here. So no, okay. So, but before that, Matt, you worked as a ticket broker.
Yeah.
What were you? You were a ticket broker? Is that what it was? Now,
that was fun.
Now, yeah, that's one of those jobs that kind of like I had. We kind of like mirror ourselves. I mean, you're like same industries, but like I worked in radio and I gave tickets away and promotions and stuff like that. Kind of similar, I guess. But like now you have to have similar stories where you had hookups. And was it sports and music, or was it just sports, or what was this? What was the focus of this place?
Everything.
Was it everything?
Sports, concerts, theater, everything. Like,
wow.
You want tickets to friggin' Saturday Night Live? They can get it. Like,
wow. Was this in New York?
Yeah, it was in Times Square. Is where my office was. I lived in Jersey City, and to get from my apartment to my office was 20 minutes by walking and train. It was nuts. I would be like.
Wow.
Like people think like, oh, you live in New Jersey, you live on the other side of the planet. Yeah, it's the fact that you live in Brooklyn. It takes you an hour to get to the city. You know, whatever.
That's crazy.
But like, I had a real sweet setup, and I worked for the first ticket. Well, my first ticket job was working for the New Jersey Devils. And I sold tickets for them, and it was a miserable job, honestly.
Oh, really?
Calling, it was terrible. I love the Devils. I'm still a Devils fan. You know, they were undefeated until last night, until they lost to the Caps, so whatever. But big Devils fan, and the job was not good. And I had a buddy who got me a gig at this ticket broker in New York, and this place was a slight raise, and it was in New York City, and it wasn't in the Meadowlands, so it was like, you know, really easy to get to if you had like any sort of place like, you know, close to there in Jersey City, like Jersey City, Hoboken, Weehawken, like any. This is foreign to most of you, but the place is right along the Hudson River. Like there's the New York City parts of New Jersey, which I'm from New Jersey.
What year is this, or what years? Like what era are we talking here? Like the
so I graduated 03 to 04, so 05, 06, 07.
Okay, so that era right there. Now,
yeah.
So the perks for this, you said that sometimes you just go, you know what? I think I'm gonna go to the Yankees game or whatever.
Yeah. So, all right, I have a bunch of great perk stories. I have a ticket stub collection that would, like, you know, stun most people in their tracks.
Oh my gosh. But
I have a couple stories that are atop the list, and one of them is a specific story, and one of them is like this is how things were, like a lifestyle kind of thing, which is like it's a little bit of a brag, I'm not gonna lie. But when I was working at this ticket company, like, you had Yankee field box tickets, and field box tickets are infield, closest to the best seats you can possibly have at a baseball game. And if you had this, I'm sorry,
you're like sitting there with the players' wives and stuff like that.
Yeah. Those seats, the dopes, like
You're the guy on camera in the frame of the shot when they're pitching and stuff like that.
Not really. I never had those. I never had those particular seats. The like, you know, like home plate during the.
You ever sat next to that guy that just went like this?
That guy actually didn't have great seats. I know exactly kind of where that
guy.
But yeah, that guy was amazing. There was a Mets fan that did that shit.
Oh, okay.
That was a Mets fan that did that. Like when the
became a huge meme.
It was unbelievable. It was our battle cry for that whole year. That run to the to the ALCS where we should have beat the cheating freaking Astros.
Uh-oh.
That, like, every time we did anything, they did this. Like, they slide into first. Boom. They slide, like, they get the out. Boom. It was just always thumbs down, like, no matter what and I love that. And me and my friends would just, like, thumbs down each other all the time. And it became, like, a really fun battle cry. And there's been a few others of those, like, that we've had over time. And some of them are like, well, this year was like this, and there was like no one knew what it was because there wasn't anyone in the clubhouse for like the entire year. So there was no reporters.
Are there any classic games like legendary games that you got to witness, in person?
I did see. This had nothing to do with the Ticket Broker one, but probably the best game I got to see was when David Wells had, I want to say 18 strikeouts in a game. And there was like, it was famous in New York and New Jersey because like, you know how like someone always has like the K's and the backwards K's that they like hang up on the side of the thing. Well, they ran out of those. And I don't know if you know anything about David Wells, but David Wells and David Cohn were like party animals in New York.
Is this the one where he went out and he was all drunk and hungover and stuff and he pitched like that, like the next day?
Yeah. That's the story on this one. But like when they ran out of K's, they just started pinning up their empty beer cups from the game. And like, cause like they brought like 10, like what are you gonna have, like 12, 15, God,
Dude, that's awesome.
You get to 18 and they had like 8, 9 beers at the end of it. It's pretty funny. And David Cohn still does the games for the Yankees. So it's like David Cohn still tells a lot of really great David Wells stories.
That's awesome, man.
Those are not in short supply. They really
still have those kind of. I mean, maybe that's like a different era where because like everything's on film now. You can't get away with this kind of stuff that you used to. But I mean, I'm sure people still do it, but not like back in the. I mean, like every sport had one. Like just a crazy party animal. Who made it fun for the fans. I mean, like you have who's the golfer that always be drunk and so like the
John Daly. They named a drink after him.
Oh, so great. It was like, they did? They made a drink after him? What drink?
It's a spiked Arnold Palmer. It's called a John Daly.
That's amazing. Now, any other stories that you have from that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So wait.
Oh, sorry.
So I didn't even tell. That wasn't even the first one. So the first one about the tickets was like these field box tickets. They couldn't send to the streets because what happened is Yankee brass, whoever, Yankee ticket people, they'd send people with clipboards down to the field box seats, and they'd try and catch people sleeping. They'd say, "Where did you get your tickets from?" And if you said, "I bought them from a ticket broker," or any of the names that they know to be ticket brokers, those tickets were pulled for the rest of the season.
Oh, for real?
And you lost your membership to them. And keep in mind,
because they were sitting in those seats.
Yeah, you're not allowed to sell those above face. And if they're going to a broker, they know that that's what's happening. And so basically, we couldn't send these to the street. If we sold them from the office, we would tell people, we'd have a conversation with them. We'd say, like, listen, you're going to probably be approached. When you're approached, you cannot tell them that you bought these from a ticket broker. You will just say that you got them as a gift. That's it. Moving on. And they won't ask anything else. They can't ask anything else. We tell them that.
Yeah.
So, like, if you send them to the street, you don't trust anyone. You can't trust anyone. These aren't regular clients. So if, God forbid, you sell them to the wrong person and you lost these, keep in mind these seats don't belong to the broker. They belong to a season ticket holder that sells some portion of them to the broker. If the broker is responsible for you losing those tickets, we got a problem. We got a huge problem. So those tickets never went to the street, ever. That was like a rule. So at the end of every work day during the baseball season, this was nuts. They'd just be like walking around. There's like, I don't know, 50 of us work there.
Oh my God.
50, and they're like, these are the Yankee tickets that didn't sell today.
No
and
way.
The way we talk about it is 44 Danny is 44 row D. The 20 row K is 20 kitties. We had a name for like everything, and like that's what who wants the 20 kitty? Who wants the 44 Georgies? Who wants the 40 Georgies? Who wants the? And it was like.
So crazy.
Like everyone's a Yankee fan. So everyone was like, I'm in, I'm in. And like, we'd get beers with each other before the game and we'd go to the game and like, you're sitting in these $350 friggin' tickets for free. Like,
is this still old Yankee Stadium or is this new?
Old Yankee Stadium.
Oh, that's
old Yankee Stadium. I moved here the month that they opened new Yankee Stadium. So I've been there like 5 times. But the old stadium I've been to like 150 times. I mean, 200 times. I mean, it's like nuts.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So that was like one of the things. And you see my little my little Yankee fan.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big Yankee fan. I still like, obsessed with it. Like it's I know a lot of people don't come about it honestly. I came about it honestly. It's like I'm from the area, watched every game growing up, like all that.
Tell me about that. So, okay, wait. Okay, all right. So who are your top, what do you have, like your top 4 or 5 teams? Your pinnacle? What are your, first off, where were you born? Where were you raised? How did you become a fan of all these different teams that are all over the place here? So you got to explain. You got to explain this here.
I got my card for all of them. I'm with you. All right. So, born and raised in New Jersey. I was born and raised in Central Jersey.
You're a Nets fan.
What? Yeah. Well, I was. I was.
Okay. All right.
Let's put a pin in that and come back to that. All right. So, grew up in New Jersey. I was a big Nets fan growing up. My number one team, Washington Redskins. That was it was not even close. My dad's a Redskins fan.
I can hardly tell. Your room's all red and yellow and.
Yeah. I mean, my dad grew up in D.C. Didn't give me much of a choice. Basically, I was born. He's like, this kid's born in New Jersey, but in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy, he's a Redskins fan.
Real quick, you basically had the opposite childhood as I did. The Redskins. Your football team was awesome growing up. Mine was a complete nightmare disaster.
It totally switched. Totally switched now. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, so I didn't have a choice on the Redskins. That's become a number one team. That's my dad's number one team. He had Redskins everything my entire life. So like that's number one. Like right behind that is I went to Maryland and Eastern Maryland, and Maryland Terrapins basketball, number 2. Number 3 is the Yankees.
I like their logo, by the way. The terp.
Which one?
What is a terp? What is a terp?
It is a turtle that is indigenous to the Chesapeake Bay of Maryland.
Wow, that's a very specific mascot they have there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the turtle one, the turtle mascot. I dig the big old.
We've changed a bunch. Like now there's like the turtle's pretty much history. It's like now we have pretty. I mean, he's not history. I mean, like we still have, but like in the logos, like on the shirts and stuff, like it's that M.
The M, yeah.
You can't see it. It's up in next to that Maryland flag and that clock. But it's kind
of the same colors too, isn't it? Like the same kind of what are their colors?
Red, white, black, and gold.
Yeah, so they're red, white, black, and gold. Okay, so they're red, white.
Similar.
Yeah. So it's kind of similar to the Redskins too. So it's So
the red's more of a dark. Yeah, it's a burgundy for the Reds. Every team's specific about what you call your colors. It's like Ohio State's scarlet and gray, and Michigan's maize and blue. We're red, white, black, and gold. Redskins are burgundy and gold.
I wish the Seahawks would go back to royal blue. I love the royal blue.
I do. I like those too. Your Super Bowl uniforms.
Yeah, the Super Bowl uniforms. What were those? Those were.
Oh no, those are Navy. Those are Navy.
That's more. That is more of the winning colors. I like the loser colors, but I don't. I don't like the fact that we were losers. But yeah, no. And you said that, and the Yankees are what? Your number 2, 3.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right behind. He goes. Redskins, Terps, Yankees.
Now, did you follow hockey as much as the other sports, or no,
not as much. A lot of my friends back home do, and because of that, I do a little bit. But it's definitely like college football, right there, and in basketball, I'm a huge
basketball, football, baseball,
fan. And I've become a Suns fan because I've been here for 12 years now. I can't.
I just had a conversation with that. With a buddy about that too. I go, whoa! He said he posted like a Suns thing, and I wasn't gonna give him like too much crap. I was like, oh, hey, bring back our Sonics, and I was like, okay, they've been gone for like 10 years now. I was like,
it's been more than that.
I guess you get a pass. I mean, what else are we supposed to do? Just not watch back? I literally, when that happened, when the Sonics left Seattle, I literally turned my back on the NBA. I was like, screw it, I'm done. I mean, I would see, obviously you can't not pay attention to some of the great players now. There's some amazing players. There's always going to be amazing players, but you know what I mean? Like I don't follow it like I used to. I was like really into basketball, but yeah.
I'll be honest. Like I was the same way. I was like that same thing. Like when the Nets left New Jersey, that was my team. Like that was But now you're in Brooklyn. It's like, yeah, I've been to Brooklyn, but like it's not. That's not where I'm from. And like now they represent over there. And it was like right at a time when I was like in transition. I was moving out here and stuff. Like I've never been to a game in Brooklyn. I've only seen the Nets in New Jersey. I saw them at a game in Newark when they played with the Devils play. Like the
fact that you just said that you don't follow the Nets since they moved. I didn't even know they moved. How about that? No, I think
they've been in Brooklyn since 2009.
I think somebody said a team. They said a team a couple of weeks ago, and I literally said I have never heard of that team, and I used to be a huge NBA fan. I can't remember what team it is. Some team that moved somewhere or something.
The Thunder? Tell me it's not the Thunder.
Oh, I hate. Are you kidding me? That's what
I was about to say. That's your team.
No.
I was going to say. I hope you didn't.
No. And by the way, the Thunder currently have the Sonics banners of our, championships and stuff in their arena right now. And I think I saw this thing where Barkley was going off about that, where he's like, that should not be allowed to have another team's banners hanging up in you guys didn't have that. That wasn't your team. That wasn't your fan base. Like those don't belong there. How dare you? So yeah, no. But yeah. So before, now going back to, did you finish your stories of your tickets and all that?
I have one other really good one. I can do really quick.
Yeah,
it's a dope one. So there was this one day that we all showed up at work, and this is after I worked for that company in New York City, and I was a big ticket broker, and I worked. I was an agent at first, and then I got promoted to the pricing desk, and I was working like alongside some of the partners. There was 8 or 9 or 10 partners or something like that in the company, and one of them like had like a rift or whatever. I don't know what happened, but he split off and he wanted to go his own way. And he's from New Jersey, and he wanted to move out there. And basically, he wanted to start his own company. And he took a few of his favorite people, and we were Jersey people, and like not everyone was Jersey. Some people were Long Island, and that would be a tough gig. One guy was from the Bronx, and he was totally willing to do it because he loved this guy. But whatever, we started this company, and I go there. So I'm working in this company. It's just north of the George Washington Bridge, and I liked it a lot. And it's one day, my boss says, "Everyone huddle around." He goes, "I don't know who's got what going on right now." And none of us had kids. Like no one in this immediate group that we were talking about. There's only like 6 people in the company at this point. Chuck had kids, the boss. None of us had kids. And he's just like, "All right, I don't know who's got what going on, but you all got to move some stuff around." He goes, "Tonight, we're all getting in a limo from here, and we're going to Madison Square Garden for AC/DC." And he goes, we got second row tickets in some section. He goes, "I don't know what section, but we got second row tickets."
Wow.
And it turned out it was second row center fucking floor.
Oh,
dude. And I sat second row center floor at the Garden for AC/DC.
At the Garden, dude, that's awesome.
That was an all timer.
When was that?
That was an absolute fucking all timer. That was roughly 07, 08.
Okay, so that was like their Ice something tour. That I know what album that is. Yeah, Black Ice or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. How was it?
I caught a pick.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I had a relative, and I'm a guitar player, as you say. But I had a relative who's about 13 years younger than me, who's also an aspiring guitar player at the time, and he was like all about AC/DC and everything. So I got the pick, and I gave that pick to him. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
I have Steven Still's pick Yeah, that was cool. I went to that with my dad.
So pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, hell yeah, that is. Yeah.
Pretty freaking cool.
I was talking to my dad about that. I was like, dude, he's like one of the most underrated musicians like ever. Like, I love that guy. I'm a huge Stephen Stills guy. I also love Angus Young, but yeah. So
Me too.
that's great. I love
and
that.
Malcolm Young was still alive for that concert.
Yeah. Gosh, all these guys, man. All these guys dying off, man. Sucks.
It happens.
Yeah, it does. So now, I think I remember you telling me stories also about the Matt life story over here. But weren't you a caddy at one point?
Oh yeah.
You have. I know that you told me a caddy story or two because
8 years.
I laughed my ass off at one of them. I can't remember what it was. I just remember that you told me you were a caddy, but you got to tell me a caddy story. So how did you get started in doing was it like Caddyshack? Were you like a kid, like, caddying and stuff like that?
I was a kid. I started out at 13. My dad was a member at the golf club that I was at, which is actually a pretty nice golf club. I'll be honest. It's called Baltusrol Golf Club in New Jersey. They've had U.S. Opens and PGAs and stuff like that. It's a badass world-class golf tournament or golf club. And, I got into it young. You have to go to this like 1-day class on how to do it, and after you do it, they'll give you one bag every once in a while, and like you make a little bit of money with it. And like it gets to the point like pretty quick where you're doing 2 bags for 2 loops every day, and I'd end up pulling in like this was the going rate for a bag. Started out when I was early on was like 40. Later was like 50, and after that got like even higher. But like, so do the math. Like, so there was like essentially like $200 a day, $250. I'm just taking home.
And you're a
cash.
kid.
Yeah, I mean, like by that point I was like probably 16,
yeah, but
17.
Still, like,
yeah.
That's good
and
money,
like,
man.
Not even like providing that much of a service. Like I knew my shit a little bit.
No.
I'm not that good at golf or anything.
Do they
like,
tip you on top of that, or?
Yeah, like if you were good, you got a little bit of tip on top of that, and I'll be honest, like early on I wasn't getting tips, but by the time I finished, I mean shit, I'm like 22, been doing this since 13.
Now, do you get more involved too? I mean, do you like literally pull out do you give them, hey, I think here you go, here's this well,
like
there
was rules, like you don't like offer advice unless it's asked for, and there's like you always pull out the pin, you always make sure that they have their shit. Like you have to be thinking one step ahead of them and never lose their ball, never lose a ball, never lose a ball, never lose the ball. Like, that kind of thing. Like, there's like, certain rules you had to like kind of.
Now, did you become, did you become like a certain guy's caddy, or like you probably got requested after a while, right?
A couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and that happened with everyone. Like everyone found their dudes that they liked.
Yeah.
I didn't have that many. There's caddies that like did that shit for a living.
You weren't like Tiger Woods' caddy or anything like that.
No, man, I was a nice guy.
Like
I was a nice guy. I was a college kid, and I could talk sports like all day long.
Yeah.
So like some of those guys, that's what they wanted. They wanted to talk college hoops with me and shit like that. And if you don't know, I went to Maryland, and like Maryland was really good at basketball back then. And it was like so there was some fun like.
Now, is there like a story? I know that you told me a story one time, but I can't remember what it was. It was funny though. I can't remember what it was. It was something.
I have a bunch, but my favorite, I would say my favorite is this one. Yes, this is my favorite. So if you're a college basketball fan or a pro basketball fan, you would know the names PJ Carlissimo and Bill Raftery. So for those of you who don't, Bill Raftery was a college coach who has led a 25, 30-year career, 40, I don't know what the hell, in college basketball. Wow. And he does the Final Four, and he does the premier games in the tournament, and he's probably like 70 now, or probably a little over.
Wow.
He's awesome. And PJ Carlissimo was the longtime coach of the Seton Hall Pirates, and then led a long assistant coaching career as well as pro coaching career. He's the guy that got strangled by Latrell Sprewell. But he led a long coaching career in the NBA after that, and was with the Spurs for a long stretch, whatever. But anyway, both of these guys were in my loop, and I had Bill Raftery's bag, and I did not have PJ's bag. I had Bill Raftery and some other guy. But in those days, I would be wearing a Terps hat, and I've been wearing this since I was 18, a Redskins hat. So like this guy like saw only two things of personality aside from my uniform that I had to wear, like, you know, was like this hat and this friggin' chain. And so me and Bill Raftery like talked more than he talked with the other people in his group. And I kept feeling like bad about it. And I didn't want to like keep separating, but he kept like coming up to me and like about that thing. And I was like, shit, man, that's awesome. I did it all day long, but it was like seriously the best loop of my life. I got paid well for it. I can't remember what I got paid, but I remember getting paid well for it. It was a fast loop. It was a nice loop. There was never any trouble or anything like that. And I got to be around two basketball icons, like two guys that are like, that's awesome, in various halls of fame.
That's cool,
like,
man.
We're talking about like legit basketball figures, you know?
Yeah. It was funny. I remember, gosh, these, were they tall? Were they tall guys?
Raftery, not really, but no, not really.
You know what they played back in college?
I think Raftery played, but currently they both probably play. I honestly don't know the answer. I know them both as coaches more than anything, but like neither of them more than 6'3", 6'2". Gotcha. I mean, they weren't.
I bring that up because I was actually in New Jersey at the, I don't know, hotel across the freeway from Giant Stadium back in 1999.
Sheridan?
It could have been. To describe how big basketball players are, well, not necessarily the guy that walked past me, but how tall. Like, I've never seen a person as tall as the guy that walked past me still to this day. I've never seen someone like that. And it was Sean Bradley. He's like tall and skinny.
Oh, really my God, yeah.
But I'm like, I can't believe how tall this guy. It's like, those. They always say, your mom's like, hey, don't stare.
Three.
Yeah.
Like
don't stare at, blah, 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 just growing up. Oops. Yeah. So they're like, always like, don't stare. But how are you not supposed to stare at John Bradley? I was like, I've never seen anybody this tall in my entire life. This guy's walking past me. This is crazy. No, but yeah, it's crazy just describing how, because basketball players, especially now, are like big and tall. Like they are like
strong.
Oh, they're ridiculous. Like
they're the best athletes we have. Period. I don't care what like
insane.
Like
they're true giants. They're real life giants. Yeah. So it's just crazy because like normally if you see someone big walk by you, that's a big guy. No, these guys are freaks, man. They're true giants. But so one of the most interesting things about you is to me, is how passionate you are about your sports. I am still kind of jealous that you said that who's your basketball team? Your basketball team's the Suns. I guess I should probably jump on the Suns bandwagon at this point in time, like I said earlier, because
you're here.
I guess, but. Yeah, I think it was like I was rooting for the Blackhawks, like because of my buddy Rich, and Rich is like, why not? You guys don't have a hockey team, and I go, you're right.
Yes, we do.
We've never had a hockey team.
What are you talking about?
Now we have the Kraken.
Seattle, right? Yep. All right.
Gotcha. No, not here. Yeah, I mean I've gone to a game here, but I didn't grow up with hockey. I don't know anything about. I watched hockey as a very casual. Fan. Hey, it's Wayne Gretzky and whatever.
By the way, one of your first few losses was to the New Jersey Devils. So.
Oh, how dare you! Now, you mentioned it earlier. your team, the Washington football team, you actually have a tattoo of their logo.
I do.
And it was, I remember you were excited to show me, and I was like, dude, that's a well done tattoo. It looks amazing. And then you told me like after that, you're like, great, that's awesome. So now it's like a derogatory.
Yeah.
Are you going to get a tattoo of the other logo, like on your, it's on your leg or something, right? Or
yeah,
on your leg?
It's on my calf. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so how do you feel about all that? I mean, because I remember we were talking about that.
Totally getting more ink. That's all there is to it.
Right.
Like I'm not embarrassed of what it. Like, dude,
right.
I'm 40 years old. Like, it happened last year. It happened. Like the first 39 years of my life. Like, that logo means something to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it's not an offensive logo. It was actually drawn
Indians
by
one is an offensive logo.
Right, the one with the buck tooth and everything. Like, that's not cool.
This one
was actually drawn by a chief of a tribe in Montana. I can't remember the name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, this was actually handed to the Redskins by this,
like the
actual
logo.
chief.
Yeah, it's like from the Eskimos or something like that up in Alaska or something. Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah. So
yeah, and so, like, it's not like a bad logo, and that's what my tattoo is the logo. And it's like, it's that means something to me. I still have it around my neck. Like, I still have it on my wall. I have it, like, it's everywhere. So it's like, it's not like it's gone. Like, so, like, there's like some part of it that's going to remain there. That said, I'm totally willing to embrace change, and I recognize that language change and things change, and I have a progressive mindset, and
speaking of change,
I've made your
peace with it. Yeah. You definitely have told me that as well. You're like, look, I knew it was coming. It was coming. Yeah. So now that time is here, and now there's a bunch of names that I think they've narrowed it down, but there's a huge list of these names that they had. Yeah. And you said that you listened to, Washington radio, Washington DC radio, and they've been talking about this nonstop, I guess, for what year and a half, couple of years or something like that, or I don't even know how long, right? I
mean, people hold their noses about when they start talking about it, but it's like, it has to be talked about at some point. And it's like, all these people, all they want to do is talk about football. And it's like, they want to be like regular reporters for regular teams. And it's like, with my team, that's just not possible.
So,
we can't, now, like, ever.
So they have some of these names that they have. Okay, I'm just going to go through some of these, and I don't know if you want to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, but like, you've heard them all. None of these are going to be new to you, but
no.
So they have the Washington Red Tails.
I don't hate. I don't love.
Yeah. How about the Washington Warriors?
It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay.
It's too close. They're staying within. They're getting without outside of 10 city blocks of anything Native American.
Yeah. So anything maybe with red in it might not be, or what? Because they have the Washington Red Hogs, or the Washington Hogs. They have the Washington Red Hawks, and then they have the Washington Red Wolves. Do you like any of those ones, or?
If I was making a decision today, I swear I want Red Wolves.
The Red Wolves. Okay, so that's your top. That's your top one.
I think the imagery is awesome. I think wolves. I think dogs. I like stuff like that. Like, I think that's. You can do cool stuff with that. You can have graphic designers.
Fans are already designing like some of the logos and stuff and submitting them, right?
Really cool stuff for years.
I bet.
For years they've been like cranking it out. It's all over Twitter, and it's like what uniforms would look like, and like I don't have a helmet in here, but like the Redskins used to have the helmet stripes. Like, I want that back. Like the helmet stripes back, and like. You don't have to put their logo on it. I understand we're not going to be Native American anything, but like the helmet stripes, I think would be dope as hell.
Didn't they have the old logo just like as the what's called the arrow, like the Just they had the regular arrow.
They had that.
Yeah.
That was actually my high school helmet.
Oh, was it? That's cool. Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
My high school's also changed names.
So wait. So did you say that they changed names? What were they? Were they the Redskins as well?
No, they were the Warriors.
Oh, really? And the Warriors? Was that offensive? Just because they killed people and stuff, or what?
I guess. I don't know. I've been out of Jersey for 12 years.
Oh God.
I'll be completely honest. I just found out that my high school changed their name 2 days ago.
Oh, that's wild. Wow. Yeah.
2 days.
What are they gonna do about the Raiders? Yeah.
Yeah. Shit.
No.
They're next. They're next. Yeah, coming for you. Yeah.
So okay. So I'm sorry. Backing up here. You said the Red Wolves was or the Red Hawks? The Red Wolves.
I prefer Red Wolves.
Red Wolves.
I like.
Yeah.
That one has a dog guy.
It has a good ring to it. The Washington Red Wolves. So I guess it has a good ring to it.
And we had a former player one time, Fred Smoot, who right after the name proposition started coming out, he's like, I like Red Wolves. He's like, you could start doing things like, instead of hail to the Redskins, it would be howl to the Red Wolves.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I'm like, fuck yeah, man.
Cool,
I'm on board.
Every team needs something they could do, like the Chiefs. Yeah. I don't know if you can do that anymore. Yeah. No, no. Are the Chiefs on the block too? Are they?
I don't know, man. I wouldn't put it outside the realm of possibility.
Right.
But.
Now, they had also on there, they had the Washington Presidents. I don't think that one.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
The Washington Brigade. The Washington.
I don't hate that one. I really am not a fan of the names that don't end in S. I know you're newly annoyed cricket guy, but I don't know.
How about
we're probably going to go to a name without an S because it's
okay.
Piss me off.
What about the Washington Commanders? It ends in an S. All right. How about the Washington Armada?
I don't hate that one either, but I don't love it either. I prefer Brigade to Armada, I'd say. I don't know.
And then the last one I have on here, I'm sure there was more, but the last one I had was the Washington Defenders. What about the offense?
I was about to say, that's ignoring a whole half of your team.
Right. Yeah. So Red Bulls, they're probably going to pick something completely off the.
They're going to fuck this up. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost 100% positive they're going to fuck this up. So.
Well, that's kind of like the one. What did they just changed the? What was it? The Indians? They just changed. Was it the Indians?
Yeah, they're the Guardians.
The Guardians, right? Okay, so
I admire the way that they did that.
Right, I didn't know. Everyone was bitching about it when it first happened, but then they're like, "Oh no, there's actually a story behind it." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I didn't even know. So, but now that I know the story, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So, but
I don't think it's bad. Seriously, we're gonna take a year and a half before we change names. So I got this year and a half where I got this scarlet letter where I can't buy the new stuff because it's gonna be outdated in 6 months, and I can't buy the old stuff because it's not allowed, and I can't buy the brand new stuff because it's not available yet. And it's I'm going batshit crazy with it. The Indians know their new name before their old name's out.
Yeah,
they just said,
right.
This is what it's going to be.
Here it is.
Have at it, Hoss. Buy your shit. Go nuts. I can't do it right now. I can buy Washington football team stuff, but I can't buy whatever it's going to be for the next, whatever the rest of my life is.
I like the Washington football team. I think it's funny. It's you guys are the football team. I think it's kind of funny, but I don't know.
It's awful.
Kind of annoying. You're in limbo.
Dude,
it's in limbo.
Go ahead and play a game of Madden. I'm a video game guy, so go ahead and play a game of Madden and tell me if it doesn't drive you absolutely up a wall.
First down, football team. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
Do they still have?
It's awful.
This might be dating myself. There's no way Madden does the voicing or the commentary on those.
No.
I mean, they could digitally enhance it but then the kids. I bet a lot of the kids now don't even know who Madden is. They just know the video game, right? There's no way.
I agree that a lot of them don't know who he is.
Yeah, but everybody knows the name Madden. It's it's become kind of like it's
the most successful video game sports franchise in the history of video games.
I was a Tecmo guy myself. Thank you very much.
That's what taught. I'll be honest. Tecmo taught me the rules of football.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's how I learned the rules. That's how I learned what 1st and 10 meant and shit. I'd watched football before that. I had no idea what the hell I was looking at, but I was like, my dad was going crazy for it. And,
right.
All right. Yeah. But like Tecmo Bowl showed me, 1st and 10, and then I got 2 yards, and now it's 2nd and 8.
I was thinking about that the other day, and baseball cards and football cards. Those taught me. I knew so much about sports back in the day. I mean, you talked to me about sports in the late 80s to the late 90s. Man, I can have a great conversation with you. Now, not so much. But if you talk about the old days, I mean, I was collecting all the cards. I was buying all the magazines. I was playing all the video games. I was all about it, man. I was all about it. Kind of lost it when I went to college, and then there was things to do, and I was going to parties and stuff like that. But yeah,
I've gotten back into it lately.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, lately, there's a lot of, what else is going on? Not all the concerts are going on right now, but yeah. But now, speaking of sports teams, who do you think has now, aside from your teams, aside from your own teams, which teams do you think have the best logos? What are some great logos that you can think of that come to mind that you're like, that's a really good logo? Because I have one that I always think of, and I'm like, that is such a great logo. Obviously,
as far as timelessness, or as far as
just overall, something that you've thought of over the years, and you're like, man, that's a cool logo, or it could be
Detroit D.
The what?
The Detroit D.
The Detroit D. What is?
Yeah, on the calligraphy D on a cowboy.
Gotcha. Okay.
On the cowboy on the Tiger's hat. It's
Gotcha. Now
it's a good logo.
We did talk about I'm not a Raiders fan, but that is a kind of a cool logo. It's a cool very cool logo. It's a cool logo. I'll give them that. Yeah. Cool colors. I mean, there's a lot of people I know that legit became a Raiders fan because of the logo and the colors, but I'm not a fan because I'm a Seahawks guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. That's you being a, I don't know, Giants fan or a Cowboys fan. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't respect their decisions on anything.
Now the Yankees have that classic logo. I can say it. That's one of the most classic logos of all time. But the logo that always stuck out for me, which was so creative, and I still think it's one of the greatest logos. I don't even think they use it anymore. But the Milwaukee Brewers logo.
Oh my God! I'm so happy you brought that one up.
I love that logo, and I'm like,
oh my God!
When I was a kid, I didn't even realize it was an M&B.
Dude, me neither. And that's my initials. That's my initials, awesome. And I didn't realize that that's what it was for my whole childhood. And then 10 years after it was gone, someone pointed it out. I'm like, You gotta be shitting me.
Isn't that amazing? That's a great logo. Whoever designed that thing, man.
Great
logo.
Great.
Yeah.
Top drawer.
Oh,
and yes, they do use it from time to time. They brought it back.
Oh, did they? Yeah, because they went with that. And I was like, what are they doing? I guess everybody tries to. You can't touch the old ones. You could do things with them, put different borders and stuff around them and everything. The Yankees kind of had fooled around with it with the bat and everything, whatever. But you still have the classic, the Y and whatever. And the Green Bay Packers, they're not touching their logo. There's just the Cowboys, they're not touching their logo. But there's
Bears, Lions.
Yeah, right. Yep. Yeah. So, So when it comes to watching football, how big of a shock was it? I don't know if it was a shock. But you know how the games, how they start on the West Coast, they start early in the day.
Oh my God.
Now, do you like it better earlier or do you like it better later in the day? That's my question to you.
My answer to you is it's a no-brainer. All right. Instead of having whatever, let's say you get up at 7 a.m, instead of having 5 hours before football starts, You wake up and it is starting like right away. And then the best part is not even the beginning. The best part is at the end when you get to see everything.
Yeah.
Because on the East Coast, Monday Night Football starts at like 8 o'clock or it's 8:30, and then it gets, to the national anthem and 8:45, something like that.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden you're talking about 11:30.
You just brought up exactly what I was going to say, because growing up on the West Coast, you don't really, I mean, as a kid, I never even thought about it, right? So like there'd be like, I was a big Marino fan back in the day. I loved Dan Marino. He was like my favorite player, overall favorite player. I had, Seahawks that I loved, but I mean, we weren't winning, so whatever. But Marino, I always loved Marino, and they would always they were good back then, so they'd always have the games on, and it was really confusing because they're like, all right, the Dolphins are like really good, but the game would start, packed stadium, everyone's like pumped up and blah blah. They come back from halftime, and everyone's gone. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's not like they're losing, they're winning, or it's like a close game or something like that. But now it makes sense because some of those games, they go past midnight. They go to like 1 o'clock sometimes. So like
super duper late. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. You're like, I love it.
Dude, it's all, it's an absolute no brainer. If you like watching football and you like, don't like missing half. Let me just tell you this. I have an all timer story that couldn't possibly have happened on the West Coast.
Oh,
this is an all timer.
Okay.
So there's these two guys. They will remain nameless because I haven't discussed this with them.
Oh.
But there's these two guys from Staten Island who went to college together. I don't know if they went to high school together, but they lived in the same area, Staten Island, and we worked at the Devils together. And these guys both went to Siena, and they both started working at the Devils together. They're just like two peas in a pod. And they were both diehard Dallas Cowboy fans. Diehard. And there was a game on Monday Night Football one time, and these guys apparently didn't watch the whole thing because the Washington football team, the Redskins at the time, were getting dominated. It wasn't dominated, but it was, I want to say, they were down by less than 2 touchdowns, down by less than 2 touchdowns, but they hadn't scored a point all night. They hadn't scored a touchdown all night.
31-21, let's say.
No, they hadn't even got a touchdown.
Oh, okay. You got a touchdown. Okay.
It was awful. And they showed no signs of life. So I'm at work when these guys show up, and both of these diehard Cowboy fans start just ribbing me. Start coming out, how about them Redskins? Ah!
That doesn't sound like a Cowboys fan.
Losing their shit, man. I mean, like over the moon happy. And I'm like, this is too good. This is never gonna happen ever again. Yeah. So basically, I let him go on for a little while longer. I made sure like everyone in the office saw them doing it, and then I broke the news that Santana Moss had scored 2 touchdowns from Mark Brunell in the last 3 minutes of the game, and won the game, and it was over. And
so
they couldn't believe it for a very, very long time.
It's awesome. That is awesome.
Because like seriously, if you're gonna just like go off the friggin' chain,
right? You
better be right.
Yeah, right. I mean, now if you're dominating,
you can be right about the outcome of the game. I mean,
right.
If your team lost, like shut up.
Yeah. That's like where there was this one guy. He was a huge fan. You might have even seen pictures of this guy. He's like a famous Seattle fan back in the day. He was like this bodybuilder guy, and he would paint himself up as the Hulk before the Seahawks games. And he'd always be on TV because, he's like the Hulk. He like had on no shirt. They spray painted him. Like it took him like hours to spray paint him down and everything. Well, this guy, he had like a fundraiser or a GoFundMe or something like that to get him a ticket to go to the NFC Championship game versus the Packers, a few years back. The great comeback game, right?
Yeah.
So there was a big GoFundMe for this guy. They raise a bunch of money. They get him into the game. And he's one of those fans that got pissed off and he left. And the Seahawks came back, one of the greatest comebacks probably the greatest comeback in NFC Championship history. And they beat the Packers in a wild, nutty, crazy game. And that guy missed it. And all the people were lighting him up like, dude, we literally sent you to that game and you left early. You're not a fan, dude. Like, you don't leave the NFC Championship game. Like, I mean, unless you're getting completely, like, if it's like 48-0, okay, maybe. But not with the crazy, you have like that team that, that I always call those teams like, once in a lifetime teams where, we had just all-stars, on our team, kind of like don't hate me for saying it, but like, the early 90s Cowboys, they just had like that team that was just like, they're like a team of all-stars. You know what I mean? It's like, it happens once in a while where you have these like teams that are just nuts. Right. And the Seahawks had one of those teams. So yeah, the fact that guy left that game, it was funny. Like watching that guy getting lit up. Like, yeah. So, now you go to Vegas a lot. How many times have you been to Vegas just this year? Have you been to Vegas once?
I've only been once this year. I'm probably going back for my birthday. Okay. I'm probably going back for my birthday because the Redskins, the Washington football team, plays the Raiders like the week after my birthday or week before my birthday. So
gotcha.
Going for that.
Now, how many times do you think you've been to Vegas?
20, 25. I don't know.
Wow.
Something like that.
How old were you when you first went to Vegas?
16.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were on our way out to a wedding and we made a trip out of it. So we went like Colorado to Vegas to Southern California somewhere.
Did you go into a casino?
Yeah, they made you like stay away from the machine. They had to like stay on the pad and shit. So like, yeah, like I didn't really get too much of a taste of it that time. But 16 was my first time seeing it.
It's kind of weird. Different places are very different. Like I remember I went into a bar with my dad one time when I was a kid, and they like quickly escalated, or they escorted me out of that place. And then we go to Wisconsin. My mom's family lives out in Wisconsin, and you could take any kid into a bar, any bar. Like we're talking clubs. Like you just have to have an adult with you. I'm like, what is this is weird? Like this is definitely not like Washington. And then like, you have places like here in Arizona where it's almost crazier in the fact that when people come to visit, I'm like, what is the most Arizona bar that I could take them to? And I'm like, oh, the bar right up the street where they have amateur bull riding. Literally, if you want to put in your name and ride a live bull at a bar, a live real bull, you can do it. You can do it. You could just go, and they literally have, ambulances sitting to the side and stuff like that. I'm like, this is real. This is this would never in a million years happen in Washington State. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting how different places are. But how big of a change have you seen in Vegas? Now I've heard people talk about how Vegas with the fees is getting kind of like ridiculous, where you used to be able to drive there and drink there and it was like super cheap. But now like everything's getting like way more expensive. I don't know if it's because Vegas is more popular or maybe they're not as popular. I don't know what the deal is, but now they charge for parking. They used to never charge for parking. Like if you drove there, you could just park in like their big giant parking garages. Right. Now they charge you for parking and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So like, I'll be honest, like first things like catch off guard and stuff like that. So like everyone has a resort fee at this point. If you're staying out there, whatever you see is the hotel price at $35, $40, whatever it is per day. Like that's
Wow.
Just cost of doing business in Vegas. That gets you access to the, casino and the Wi-Fi and the pools and whatever else they got. If you factor it in ahead of time, it doesn't shock you. The parking, I addressed. There's a thing that it was driving me crazy because we'd go there for 3 or 4 days and you pay $15 a day for parking. And so it's like to stay at the hotel that you're staying at. We usually stay at MGM properties. So I got I saw a thing when we're walking around actually the parking garage. If you get this credit card, you get an immediate upgrade to the Pearl level of M-Life card, and you get free parking. And I was like,
man,
is there an annual fee? No, nope. I'm like, sign me up.
You are able to always work all this stuff, man. You have always the connections, and maybe this is goes back to your ticket days where you always there has to be some way to.
Always looking for a deal, man. I mean, seriously, someone wants to give you a deal. Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you I don't know if you'd consider yourself a big gambler, but you're definitely a bigger gambler than me. And
I definitely enjoy it. I do a high volume of gambling. I just don't bet much.
Do you have yeah, because I remember you're not like like a degenerate gambler like Artie Lang used to talk about how he's like, when you're making 40 grand doing a concert in one night, and then you spend that 40 grand and you lose it in 5 minutes. That's kind of rough. But then you're like, you know what? I could just do another night of and I'm like, Jesus Christ. That's a different level. Now, yeah, you're putting $5 here, $10 here, or whatever. But and that's another thing you told me about. All these places have these things you could sign up for, and they want you to, sign up because you'll eventually probably give them money. So yeah, they're going to give you credits and stuff like that. But yeah. Now, have you seen that documentary that just came out on Netflix about the ASU basketball scandal yet?
Yes.
Dude, wasn't that crazy? Yes.
So well told.
It was awesome.
What a great story.
Yes.
If anyone hasn't seen that, I highly recommend it.
Definitely.
You don't have to be a sports fan. You don't have to be an ASU fan. You don't have to be a gambler. That is a great story.
Yep.
Great story.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it's back in 1990,
91,
early 90s, something like that. Yeah. And yeah, it was fantastic. So basically it was what would they do? It was basically they were betting on themselves, right? So they would.
Well, it wasn't betting on yourself. It was they in a game where ASU was 18-point favorites. They're like, you can't win by more than 12.
Right. And so you can control the game.
And he was the point guard. The guy that was doing the point shaving was the point guard, and they have the ball the most. And it's the quarterback of the basketball team.
And he was a star, right? What's his name? It was
Headache Smith.
Headache Smith. Yeah. Oh, and he's just you can see the pain in he's just in pain, telling the story, but
it's awful.
Great story. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's kind of
so well told.
It's kind of like that the referee thing, a few years back.
Donahue. Yeah.
Doesn't it just show you how, I mean, these are only the guys that were caught. Think of how many players over the years. I mean, there has to be, think how much money is in sports, right? There has to be hundreds and there has to be thousands of guys that have done stuff like this over the years.
Yeah.
And
you're not wrong.
Yeah. They've only caught a handful of big stars doing this. So, so what do you think about that? Do you think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame?
That's a sticky situation. I say yes.
I know, isn't it crazy? Because that guy is so above and beyond. He is in the top. Even in the guys that are in the Hall of Fame. He's in the upper part of the guys that would be in the Hall of Fame, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. And it's ooh.
He also never bet against his team, and that's the other part.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't there was never a record of him betting against the Reds. It's
yeah, it's crazy.
I understand. There's rules are rules,
right?
But I don't know. This is special.
When he dies, do they get him in the Hall of Fame? Does he get in the Hall of Fame after he dies?
I think if the decision's not made by then, no one's going to care by the time he dies. Seriously, I mean, I'm saying like the people that make the decisions aren't going to care if they don't care now, right?
Yeah. What
like,
about
the people that are voting now? Like cared about when he was a player. Like the people that are voting in 15 years are going to be caring about players that are playing now, or like or the Mark Teixeiras or whatever.
Yeah, like Shoeless Joe Jackson's. He's not in the Hall of Fame either, is he? Like,
I don't think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess they really they're serious about it. So yeah, I don't know, but like, yeah, there just must be just so many guys that have. That's to me, it's kind of fun to think about. I'm like, Jesus, like how many of these games that I've watched over years that were really close happen to be, a guy fixing a game, and then you hear those you see those like refs talking about, you're like, yeah, we called shitty calls because we were getting paid. And I'm like, God, sucks. Especially
I'll be honest. I think that happens a drop in the bucket amount of time.
Yeah, but even if it happens like 1 out of 100 times, think of how many sporting events there are, right?
No, I'm saying I think it happens way less than 1 out of 100. I think it happens.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying,
yeah.
I'm just saying, yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of money in gambling.
I agree with you. But it's also a very, very difficult thing to taint because a lot of people have a vested interest, like some of these players that would have to be involved. It's like, you're going to tell me that I'm going to score less because then I'm going to get paid less, like that kind of stuff or whatever. Yeah. Things like this, it's very difficult to coordinate, especially because you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, there was another one, another college one that they did, like it was like with the mob or something like that. I think there was another kind of like documentary like that they did, but yeah, that would be really scary.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out what that was and then send that over to you. But yeah, man, we'll have to do this again. But I did want to say, I want to talk to you real quick about guitar. So you play guitar. Yeah. How long have you been playing guitar?
Since high school.
Okay. So, and you said, okay, now who are some of your favorite guitarists of like just of all time?
All time?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say like the first impetus for like why I picked up a guitar would be Dave Matthews. And then like the guy that got me into electric guitar was Jimi Hendrix. And from that, I got into like I'm I understand this is a bubblegum kind of thing. I'm a big John Mayer fan. I think that guy is like unbelievable with guitar.
Good guitarist.
And, yeah.
Take that away from John Mayer. Like he is definitely a good guitarist. Yeah.
Off
so you like kind of like the bluesy rock kind of.
I do. I prefer the blues. That's what I play. That's what that's my stuff. But Stevie Ray Vaughan would be the third. As far as like the guys that I'm,
right.
There's a reason there's a Stratocaster. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix. That's what they play.
Some of those
like
old
Jimmy or John Mayer.
Videos of Stevie Ray like playing. You're like, oh man, it's like so. Seeing those guys like that just literally like they're like the guitar is like part of them. Where they're like just kind of like they're not even looking. They're just like they're just like feeling the guitar and stuff like that. You're like, man, that's so cool, man. So cool. Like
I'll tell you, man. The one that I love is the if I've been asked the question in my life, you listen to one song the rest of your life, like what would you listen to? It's Stevie Ray Vaughan covering Little Wing. And if you've never heard that instrumental, it's like
awesome.
6.5 minutes long or some shit like that. And like Jimi Hendrix's version of that was 2.5 minutes long. It's a real short song. It has like no words. It's like real short. And it is my favorite Hendrix song at this point because of that Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like that instrumental, if I could listen to one piece of music for the rest of my life, that would be it. That's the one.
Boom. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. No, have you seen a lot of concerts? I mean, like, I know you probably did back in the day, right? Especially at the ticket place.
Oh yeah.
But have you seen a lot of concerts since you've been here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tons.
So what's the last concert you went to?
The most recent concert was. That is a great question.
I know there's like a.
I haven't been one. I haven't been
the
one. I haven't been one since the COVID. So
right.
It would be before that. Weezer. I saw. Yeah, and I love Weezer. I'll tell you right now, like that is an underrated band as far as I'm concerned.
I love Weezer. I
saw Weezer with the Pixies. Pixies.
Oh, really?
For Weezer. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So when was that? When did that come around? Was that just a couple of years?
No, it was this. Well, yeah, the summer before COVID. It was the September before COVID, something like that.
2009. God, isn't that crazy? Like, well, it wasn't
September 2019. Yeah, September 2019, something like that.
Cool. How was it?
It was unbelievable, and
awesome.
Like Weezer does the same show for their entire. They're like Metallica, where they play like the same set list.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you, man, we were the last stop on the tour.
Oh, really? So it's like it was
all out perfect. It was perfect.
Awesome.
They were just. I mean, it was the set was unbelievable. Like I knew exactly what was coming. They nailed everything. Everything sounded great. The between song stuff was great. Like, you know, I'm a huge fan of them.
That's
and
awesome.
I was pleasantly surprised by the Pixies because, like, you know, they haven't been like, you know, making new shit for a while. But like, man, their old shit fucking was awesome.
Yeah, aren't they like they were a big fan, or Nirvana and stuff. Those guys were like big Pixies guys too. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So
I mean, they played all their hits too.
What's your favorite Weezer album?
I mean, the Blue. It's everything comes off of the Blue, but it's like I've been with them.
I often think if people say anything but the Blue, like I don't know if they're like trying to be cool or what, but
it's
the Blue
a perfect album.
Yeah, like
it's a perfect album.
It's great. It's a great album. Like it's so solid. And you have like isn't that Rick Ocasek did that? He produced that album, and I think he did the Green album too. So
I think so too.
Yeah, God, miss that guy. That guy's great. But the reason I brought that up is because last week I was supposed to go to my very first concert, which was the.
What do you mean supposed to?
Well, so it was the Doobie Brothers. It was the 50th anniversary. Now, I like the Doobie Brothers a lot. They're not like a bucket list group of mine, but I have seen Michael McDonald with Kenny Loggins, which is, you know, it's a good show. It's good.
Not bad.
But I never seen the Doobie Brothers, and I really like especially the early Doobie Brothers with Tom Johnston. You know, like listen to music, Blackwater, all that stuff. So it's supposed to be me, Eric. You know Eric. You're well aware of Eric. Eric's like, you know, he's like, I go, Eric, you want to go to Doobie Brothers? And he's like, I'm up for whatever. Let's go. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So it's me, Eric, and Jen, and we purchased tickets from StubHub, right? So we leave early. We get down there, and we're sitting in that just giant line at the Octon or the Ochin. And just sitting there for traffic for like a long time. And I'm like, I should probably get the tickets already since we're sitting here. And I bring up my phone. I'm like scrolling through, and I was like, wait a minute, it's not. Look, I don't see the email. I should have done this thing before, but I was like, where's the thing? And I'm like checking my junk box. I'm checking everywhere, right? And I was like, wait a minute, it's not already loaded in my like. Well, I was like, oh, where's this? So we get there. We finally park. I'm still like searching for this email. I was like, oh, we should call customer service. Like, yes. So call the guy, and the guy's like, you know, and by the way, the long ass line because COVID, right? Because everyone has to be checked for, you know, the you have to show your cards, or you have to, you know, have a.
Oh, they were checking your vaccination cards?
Yep, they were checking everybody's stuff.
Huh.
So because when you buy a ticket now, you have to agree. There's a page that you so either you're vaccinated for certain shows. You have to be either vaccinated or have a test, you know, 24 hours prior to the show or something like that, right? So So we're sitting there. I called this customer service guy, and he's like, "Yeah, they should have been sent. The Ticketmaster sent them over." And I was like, "Don't have them." And he goes, "Well, let me put you on hold." And like Eric and I look at each other, and we're like, "Well, we know what that usually means." Eric goes, "Yeah, he's buying time. Yeah, there's something wrong." So
He saw something he didn't like.
Yeah. So at that point, like, dude, we're like 5-7 songs in. Like we're listening to and they sound good. They sound really good. Like. Just for the record, they sounded way better than I thought they would. And I was like, okay. And the guy's like, "Hey, look, we're going to get you in. We're going to get you in." I'm like, at this point, I'm like, dude, he comes back on. He goes, "Yeah, they never sent him." And I'm like, wow, man. Like, cause like, I would have, if I got him, I would have just loaded
What did they do to make it right?
They didn't. Well, he goes, I go, "Dude, can you just refund the tickets?" Like, we're just, this show's like a third over. Like, they're like 9 songs in at this point. And the guy goes, he's like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, look, dude, I'm not going to, look, anybody else would have like probably gone off. I'm not going to go off because of Matt's training that I had on the job. Listen, it goes both ways, right? Like, empathy goes both ways. I can imagine this guy has probably been yelled at for the same situation. I don't know, probably 5 times like earlier this night. I don't know. So I'm like, dude, just, it's not like this is the Rolling Stones or something. You know what I mean? Like, if this was a different concert like that, might have been a little bit different, but I would have probably also made sure of myself, like, way ahead of time. Like, I have the tickets definitely loaded in, but they never sent them to me. So yeah. And what you said, had they make it right? I probably could have gotten something right extra.
Yeah.
But I just asked for my money back. I was like, just take the money back. And he goes,
didn't they have like 150% guarantee?
I don't know, man. I mean, I could probably go back and say, "Hey, man, like that was pretty lame." But the guy, you could tell the guy is like really like, laying on the empathy pretty good. And he goes, "And I'm so sorry. I wish there was something I could do." I was like, you could buy me a beer." And he starts laughing, and he goes, "What's your Venmo?" So I probably should have taken him up on that. But are you looking it up right now? Yeah.
120%.
Oh, so what does that mean? What does that even mean?
StubHub's fan protect guarantee. If your event is canceled or not rescheduled, that's a 120% if it's canceled or not rescheduled.
Yeah, it was not canceled. They technically they could have gotten me into the show. I mean, I would have caught like, probably the
they could have gotten you into some portion of the show.
Right. But yeah, but at that point, like, dude, like, okay, we still saw a line. So there's literally a line we're still staring at. The concert's been going on. There's like 9 songs playing already. We're sitting there. We're like, all right, well, is this even worth it at this point in time? I'm like, really? So that's how that night ended. But I just wanted to say, Matt, that's what I wanted. That's why I wanted to bring that up, because your training with the empathy section of your training classes, I could have been a Karen, or what do they call them? Kevins? What do they call the
Karen.
the versions of Karens? I don't know.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I could have been that person. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that, man. We'll just go home and have some beers. We ended up watching a comedy show at home, and everything worked out. Everything worked out good. So, but yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
That's I'm happy that the training helped. I'll be honest. I've been a lot kinder to front end workers since I've become one. So like I was an agent before I was a trainer. It's been right. More than a decade in the business. So like I definitely have changed myself.
That's awesome, Matt. That's awesome. Well, hey, man. Hey, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show. It's always fun chatting with you off the clock. And,
yeah, man.
And we're definitely going to have I'm going to have you back on the show so we can.
I'd love to
talk about just whatever. It's like you're easy to talk to.
I feel like I could go another couple hours. If
right. I would, except for I only have a certain amount of time that I can post these. So
understood.
Yeah. So Yeah, but I've been having kind of like these little specialty shows, and I'll have to have you on for one of them. Maybe like a little blues rock or something like that conversation.
Perfect. Sign me up.
Yeah. My dad used to host a blues show back in college, or at the radio station back in the day, back in the late 80s. Isn't that crazy?
Badass.
Yeah. So
I've listened to a number of those in a number of different cities, not Seattle.
Awesome.
But
oh, really? That's awesome.
Had I lived in Seattle, I probably would have heard your dad.
Yeah, right.
There was like a certain hour or two that they played that shit, and I was usually driving home from my late jobs or stuff like that, and it's just like, yep, flip on one of the two,
so
whatever
awesome.
The hell, yeah.
That's awesome, man. All right, well, hey, you have the first episode under your belt, and Matt, good luck to you with your Washington football team and the
Seahawks.
and the Reds. Oops, I almost slipped there. The Washington football team and the the Yankees season. Is that still?
Yeah, it's done. They're done.
Okay. Yeah.
But the Suns just got started. Devils just got started. You never know. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Terps basketball is getting started in the week.
Suns, yep. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you have some sports watching to do. So, all right, man. Thanks again for coming on.
Right on. My pleasure, brother.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
Take it easy.
Thank you for tuning in to the Josh and Friends podcast. If you have any questions or comments about today's show, feel free to leave a message in the comment section below. If you enjoy listening to the podcast, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow the show. And check out some of the video clips posted on YouTube and Facebook. I'm Josh, and thank you for being a friend.